Hey friend, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here listening to another episode of the Pattern Design Circle podcast. Here we talk all about the ins and outs of designing knit and crochet patterns and running a business that makes it all possible. I'm Jessica, your host, knitting pattern designer, design mentor, and the friend in your ear. Can't wait to dive right in. The Pattern Design Circle podcast is sponsored by the Pattern Design Circle, a membership community for knit and crochet pattern designers that are feeling lost, lonely, or frustrated in their business. It connects you with a supportive community that's always eager to answer your questions and help you through the hard times. And there's loads of resources and activities specifically catered to business and designing. Sound like your jam? Check it out at snickerdoodleknits.com/design-circle. That's snickerdoodle, like the cookie, knits, knits.com/design-circle. All right, let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Pattern Design Circle podcast. I am so excited to be here chatting with you about all things business, marketing, designing. But today we are maybe more business focused. I am going to get a little bit ranty, but I assure you that this is not a personal attack. I promise that this is a rant that sometimes I need. So maybe it's something that I need to remember the next time I'm tempted to buy something to listen to this. So as a precursor, I don't know if it's necessarily necessary to listen to it, but if you haven't listened to episode 48, which is really about when to ask for outside help and when you already have the answers in you, basically when you're feeling like you are wanting to buy a product or invest in coaching or, buy a product. I mean like a course, a class, a workshop, a webinar, join a membership, all these kinds of things. That episode was really about deciding how to choose. This episode is about when you don't actually need to buy that thing. All right. So if you're not sure how to decide, go ahead and listen to that episode after you listen to this one. But in the case that you're just getting caught up in feeling like that thing's going to be the solution and you know it's not going to be, let's talk about this. Stop buying all the products. Stop buying all the things. Stop buying all the courses. Stop joining all the memberships. Stop waiting for somebody to give you a magical solution that's going to change everything instantly, and suddenly you're going to have $1 million business that's going to be perfect and easy, and you're hardly going to have to put any work into it, whatever you're looking for. Stop looking for it. Stop looking for it. You've already decided that you don't need it. You've already decided that you have the answers that you need right now. So let's talk about what we can do instead. Trust that you know things. Trust that your gut is telling you something for a reason. Stop getting pulled into that marketing that's convincing you that you need something else. And again, this is for you if you've already decided. If you know that you're a course junkie, that's a term that I've heard out there. If you know that you tend to collect these products and maybe you consume them, maybe you don't. Maybe you work through the content, maybe you don't. If you know that you just keep collecting these things, you keep paying more money, you keep looking for the next shiny thing. If you're getting caught up in shiny object syndrome, stop. Stop right now. Because you're not helping your business by doing that. You're actually hurting it. If you're not doing the work, if you're not following through, you're hurting your business more than you're helping it. You are, I'm feeling awkward the fact that I'm looking into the camera for those of you watching the video because I feel like I'm personally attacking you. I promise I'm not. But you've You already have information that you need. You already have the gut answer that you need. You already have the resources that you need. If you've already collected 5 courses all about ideal customers and you're wanting to buy another course about ideal customers, but you haven't listened to any of the content in those other 5, go listen to the content. Go learn about it. Use the resources that you have. But just throwing your money at something is not going to solve the problem. We have to do the work. We have to do the work. So, what do you know already? Let's think about why are you wanting to buy into this solution? What is it that you think it's going to do for you? And then think about what you already have. What information do I already have in my back pocket? What do I already know that I'm not implementing? What do I know that I haven't applied to my business? And here I know I am guilty as charged. I didn't want to use that phrase, but I know I have a whole lot of stuff that I know that I have in my quote unquote arsenal that I have learned because I have consumed the content. I've done the research. I've taken the classes. I've joined the memberships, all this kind of stuff. I know I have a whole lot of knowledge inside of my head that I can tell everybody else exactly what to do. And I haven't applied it 100% in my own business. I know that there are lead magnets that I could improve. I know that there are email funnels that I can improve. I know that there is more that I want to do with my podcasting to actually grow my audience. I know that I want to work more on storytelling. I know there's all these things that I know for my business, for my marketing strategies, all these kinds of things that I know. I know exactly what to do. I have the step by step, but somehow we convince ourselves that it's easier, that it's faster, that it's going to work better if we buy the next thing. Oh, I'll actually listen to this one and I'll actually implement it. If I buy a new thing, because I've made the investment, I will have, this commitment to myself. Which, yes, there is some validity to the fact that when we invest money into something, we are more likely to implement than if we don't. But if you know yourself, if you know your past, if you know that that hasn't always been true, don't think that it's going to solve the issue for you. If you already have content that you're sitting on, that you have access to, that has the solutions, don't go buy another new thing. So what is it about what you know that why haven't you implemented it? Why haven't you done the work? Why haven't you consumed the course? Why haven't you asked the question in the membership that you're already in? What is holding you back? There is a whole lot of things that can hold us back. There are a whole lot of things that can hold us back. Our fear. A lot of times folks have a fear of showing up. We know that if we send the email, we know that if we show up on Instagram, we know that if we do the strategy, it will help our business. But we're scared. What if I were to show up and somebody said something mean? What if I were to show up and somebody thought that they didn't like the way that I looked? What if I showed up and nobody bought? Is it fear of rejection? Is it fear of not being good enough? Is it fear-based? And then dig deeper into that. Why do you fear that? There's a lot that we can get down into in ourselves that's so much deeper than the surface level. It can be easy to mask it. Say, well, I just don't have enough time. I just don't have the bandwidth. I don't have the energy. Well, make the time. Create the energy. We have a whole lot of other things that we could cancel. We can push things off. If this was so important to us, we would make it work. It's not about, our priorities don't just take over on their own. What we spend our time on is what we prioritize. And especially if you have a business. If you have a business that you're running and you're spending time in your business or spending time on your business, you are choosing how that time is spent. So if you want it spent in other ways, you'll make it happen. You can say no to something. You can not send the email for this week. You can not show up on Instagram for this week if that's what it's going to take to get this other thing done. And if that's more important to you, you will get it done. And I know that I painting this kind of forcefully. I'm kind of painting it in a black and white picture, where of course it's not a black and white picture. There's a lot to work through here inside of ourselves. There's a lot to work through in terms of fear, in terms of what we think we're capable of, in terms of what we think is possible, in terms of our self-confidence, in terms of even our belief that the strategy is going to work. So we have to really dig deep, ask ourselves why we're feeling these things. And what if it wasn't true? So what if I showed up and folks actually connected with me? What if I got a whole bunch of messages from people saying, this resonated with me? Would it be worth showing up? Would that be worth, would 10 messages of people resonating be worth one person who doesn't resonate and one person who doesn't like it? And then let's think about what if worst case scenario, the whatever thing that we're fearing, the whatever thing that we're scared and feared, same thing. What if the thing that we're really working against, what if that actually happened? What's the worst case scenario? What if somebody says something very hurtful and mean? Will it be the end of your life? I hope not. I don't want to make this a joke at all. But in most cases, no, it's not going to be. So in this worst case scenario, in this case, when somebody does something mean, when somebody doesn't like the way that you look, when whatever happens, you have the power. You can block that person. You can choose to not interact with that person. You could choose to use it as a learning experience to educate them that that's not nice. Whatever you decide would be the best plan of action. You can, before this ever happens, you can think through these cases and scenarios and have a step-by-step action plan of how you will respond to this. So that when it happens, rather than filling up with panic and anger and being unsure how to respond and then responding out of that place, perhaps responding in a way that you wouldn't actually want to respond. Instead, now you've already had a plan of how you're going to handle it. And remember, this is worst case scenario, right? Like what the chances that worst case scenario are actually going to happen aren't that likely most of the time. All right, so sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's lack of confidence. Now, how am I going to resolve that? What do I know about my personality? And what's the best way for me to build that confidence? Would some affirmations help me? Would building my support system around me help me? Or if you're like me, sometimes showing up and doing the thing is how you build the confidence. Sometimes doing the hard thing that you fear is the way to overcome it. And I think this is a lot of the time the case, especially like there's a lot of folks who hate, who really don't want to, who really fear showing up online, showing their face, their self. And the reason is because they're fearful about what people are going to think about them. But through action, there's more clarity and things tend to get easier. If something's misaligned, I don't believe that it really starts to feel easier. But for something for me, like for me personally, showing up on Instagram lives, sure, yeah, I still get like a little nervous before I show up. Before when I hit the live button, I still get nervous before I hit live for a call for Pattern Design Circle, for a Zoom call, like for a free workshop or something like that. I do get nervous. That's still a thing. But I know I have confidence now that I can show up and do the hard thing. I know that I've been able to do it in the past and it's been an enjoyable experience. I've been able to share content and share value and fulfill my purpose, fulfill my mission, and help people. And therefore, it's worth it. And so, just proving to yourself that I can do this, that I can enjoy myself through the process, proving that to yourself through action may be the solution. For myself, I know a lot of times that's the solution. There are things that I know I won't show up and do if I'm not in the right energy. Podcasting is one of those. If I'm really feeling tired and lethargic, I'm not going to show up for a podcast. I'm going to end up yawning throughout the whole thing. I'm not going to be nearly as excited or passionate about what I'm talking about. I do know that sometimes when I'm just like, I don't know, feeling overwhelmed, like, I don't know if I can make time for this, and just kind of making excuses, I know that if I show up and I hit record and I say, hello, I'm so excited to be here with you chatting on Pattern Design Circle podcast, I know that that increases my energy. So I don't have to be at full energy before I start. I know that there are other things like my email list. I never want to sit down and write an email. It's just not something that ever sounds appealing. But I know once I get into it and start writing, suddenly I have a bajillion things I want to say, and it's not so bad. And I get into a flow and a rhythm, and I'm happy to sit and write 3 emails now when I didn't want to do it before. And so sometimes it's a matter of just making yourself do it, just making yourself sit down and do the task. That's how we're actually going to get the work done. So what is it that is holding me back? If it's because you don't have the knowledge that you need, honestly ask yourself, what knowledge do I need? Where am I going to find that? Is this product that I'm wanting to buy, is that the solution, or is this something completely else random that's not even related? Alrighty, I think we've talked pretty well there about what's holding us back. There's a lot of things that can hold us back. Just keep asking yourself why. And after you've answered the first why, ask yourself why again. Until you really get down to the root, deepest part of this. And this is difficult. This requires vulnerability and honesty with ourselves. It requires quite a lot of tough love. But if you actually want to get the thing done, and if this is what it requires, are you willing to do it? Are you willing to show up and give yourself some tough love? Are you willing to show up and make yourself do the hard thing? And think about how good is it going to feel when you get that done? How good would it feel if you could say, I have finally, for the folks who really struggle with showing up live, who want to have Instagram lives, but that don't do it, or YouTube or whatever you want to do, but scared to show up, how good would it feel to be able to say, I hosted my first live today? Say, I did that hard thing. How good would that feel? How good would that sense of accomplishment feel for this hard thing, whatever you feel like it's maybe going to be too hard? What's holding you back is, if that's time, what can you adjust? What can you change? Where can you make time? How long is it going to take you to actually complete this thing? Whether that's consuming the course, whether that's doing the work, where can you find pockets to put that in? You don't have to get it all done today. Create a plan for, depending on your style. If you're somebody who hyper focuses and tends to like binge. Like if you're consuming a course, you'd rather just consume it all in one day. Know what works best for you. Know how you're actually going to set yourself up for success. Don't create a plan that's not going to work for you. Don't create a plan that you know you're not going to show up for. Create a plan for success. Okay, then what else do I need to accomplish this? Is it knowledge? Is it energy? Is it time? Is it ambition? Is it clarity? Is it a tool? Is it somebody's help? What do I need and how can I acquire that? So we talked about time. I think we talked about knowledge, taking the course or whatever. If it's somebody's help, how can you get that help? Have you asked them yet? Have you scheduled a time with them yet? Maybe it's as simple as saying, hey, Susie, I'm needing your help with this project. Can we schedule a Zoom call for Thursday at 2:00 to talk about what I'm looking for? Do that first step. If it's a matter of booking a coaching call, book that call. If it's a matter of software or something technical like that, what's your game plan for getting that? Do you still need to figure out what software it is that you need to buy? Maybe I need something that will allow me to send out emails to my email list, but I don't even know what I want to buy. So first line of action is going to be look at the different options and choose the best option. Second step of action is going to be sign up for that thing. Create a list. What are the step-by-step things that I need? And you can mark, maybe use a highlighter, use different color pens, use just a dot with a highlighter or something to indicate what can I do right now? What am I able to do right now? Use one color to say I need to learn something new. Use a different color to say I need somebody's help with this, and use a different color to say I need to buy something. So then that tells you, all right, what I need is money, education, and somebody's help on this project. So then if you're comparing projects, you're like, I don't have the money. I'm not going to get this person's help right now because they are cram busy with this big project. They're not going to be available for 2 more months. This my project now is not, that needs to go on the back burner with something else that I have the resources for right now, or I can attain the resources for right now that can get done. So list out everything that you need. That also will give you step-by-step tasks to start getting that thing accomplished. After you list out everything that you would need, I recommend go ahead and list out all of the steps, all of the tasks required to complete this project, complete this task, whatever this thing is for you. So let's say my project that I want to complete is to update my whole website. But first of all, I want to take a look at my homepage. I want to decide is the branding actually still in line with my current branding? Am I wanting to update my branding? Well, that ends up being a whole nother project. If this doesn't match my current brand board, which is a graphic board that I've created in Canva that has my branding colors and fonts and all that kind of stuff in it. If my website doesn't currently align with that, what needs to change? What is different? So first of all, I'll look at the homepage, look at what is different. I will write down exactly what needs to change for my brand. Then I will look at the SEO on my homepage. I'm going to make sure that SEO is relevant, that is still the SEO that I really want to be ranking for on my homepage, and do some SEO research. And then make a decision if I need to change any of that. Maybe on my homepage, I also want to change out my lead magnet. So I write that on my list here. So maybe that's everything for my homepage. Next, the second thing I want to work on my website is my About Me page. And I know that I really want to update my copy there. So first of all, I am going to write new copy or adjust the copy. Second of all, I am going to confirm that my copy relates to my ideal customer. I'm going to confirm that they will be able to see themselves in it. I will confirm that my About Me page copy is really leading them to see how they can work with me, to see how I can help them. And I want to confirm that my copy is relatable, that I'm telling stories, that I'm building emotional connection. So each of those things I'll list down as tasks under my About Me page. And third of all, maybe I want to work on my page that has my knitting patterns on it. So maybe first of all, I want to change the copy at the top of that page that describes my knitting patterns. And then second of all, maybe I want to update some of my pattern photos. So those are my tasks there. And then let's just say that's everything I want to do on my website. Now I have step by step. All right, first of all, first priority is I want to take care of that homepage. On that homepage, I need to do these steps. Then after that, I'll take care of my About Me page. These are all the steps I want to take care of on that. And lastly, I'll take care of my page that's selling my knitting patterns, and I want to do these steps. So now I have clarity on exactly what I want. Listing out the tasks can help significantly with overwhelm. If you're feeling overwhelmed by a project and you're not sure where to even start a list. If you're feeling overwhelmed because you feel like it's such a big project, start a list. If you're not sure where to start, if you're not sure how much time it's going to take, if you're feeling that it's just going to be too much, create the list of the tasks. That will help with overwhelm to start with. It will also help from you storing all of that information in your brain, taking up energy and decision-making power in your brain, because now it's on a piece of paper or on your computer or phone or wherever you made the list. It also means that now you already have a plan of action. So once you have a time block where you're like, okay, I'm going to work on this, you know exactly what to work on first. It's not a matter of making a decision. It's not a matter of feeling confused and overwhelmed about where you're going to start, because you already have this action list. You already know exactly what you're going to do. You're going to start, you're going to open up the homepage, and you're going to look at your branding and compare. So you have all sorts of like mini tasks now, or individual tasks, honestly. They're not many. You have lists of different tasks that you can work on, and you don't need to wait until you have a huge chunk of time to work on the whole website. You don't have to even wait until you have a huge chunk of time just to work on one page. You know that you can pull up your brand board and compare colors and fonts and decide if it's in alignment. That's something that you can do in a 30-minute chunk of time, and you don't need all day. So then it's going to be easier to check off these things in smaller chunks of time, when before you might have felt like you needed to have a whole lot more time to work on it. Yeah. And so then it's a matter of doing the work. It's committing and doing the work. It's saying, all right, this is so valuable to me. I am going to do it. I'm making a promise to myself that I'm going to do this. What do you need in order to keep that promise? Do you need to write it down? Do you need to put a post-it note on your computer, on your mirror, on your nightstand, on your desk? Do you need to write it on your hand every morning? Do you need to put it on your screensaver on your computer and maybe the background on your phone? What do you need to do in order to hold that commitment? Do you need accountability? Do you need somebody who's going to check in with you, a friend, Maybe a group like Pattern Design Circle where we have the accountability threads and you can post and say, all right, this is my goal. Can somebody check in with me? Because I want to make sure this gets done. You can, maybe it's a matter of actually making the time. So maybe what you actually need to get it done is co-working sessions, which we also have inside Pattern Design Circle, which is where you show up, you're with other people, and you're committing to working in that period. You don't have to get the whole project done. It's a matter of really making the commitment to actually work on your business in that time, to have a focus block where you can actually, where you're just working on your business, you're focusing on that. Whatever it is, the point is to remove the hurdles, to understand yourself, know how your brain works, know how your habits work, know what pitfalls you tend to fall into, what your obstacles are, why you choose not to do things, why you choose to do things, and use that for you. Use that to set yourself up for success. Remove those hurdles so that you can do the work and be committed to doing the work. You've chosen to run this knitting or crochet pattern design business for a reason. Keep that why in front of you. Keep that mission in front of you. Keep that purpose in front of you. And at the same time, know your specific mission, your purpose, your passion for this project. What is the reason for this? Maybe I really want to work on my website because of SEO. Maybe that is my goal. I really want to work on my SEO for my marketing strategy this month. I know that working on my SEO is going to help me get found. It's going to increase my sales. Keep that in mind. Remember that's your why. When you're tempted to scroll Instagram instead, when you're tempted to go hang out with friends for the day instead, remember your why and ask yourself, is that why, is that mission more important than this other thing that I want to do right now? That's not to say don't ever scroll Instagram. Don't ever allow yourself to go out with friends, whatever. Like, I absolutely believe in balance. I absolutely believe that you need to take time for yourself as well. But sometimes we need to give ourselves tough love. Sometimes we have to set the boundaries for ourselves to actually get the work done. So what is it that you need? How are you going to get the work done? Do you need to set alarms and timers for yourself? Do you need to ask somebody to take care of your kids for the day? Do you need to tell your husband that you're not going to get XYZ done because this is more important for today, that you can take care of that tomorrow, or he can take care of that today, or your partner, whoever in your life? Who do you need to set these boundaries with as well? Not just yourself. How are you going to set yourself up for success? Alrighty, I think that is my rant. Just remember that you started this for a reason. There's a purpose for this business. There is a purpose for this project. There is a reason why you want to get this thing done. There's a reason you keep feeling tempted to throw money at something in hopes that it's going to be the perfect solution. So what is the solution? That perfect solution doesn't exist, not the one that's super easy and just going to take care of itself. So what do you need to do instead? What's going to get the work done? How are you going to achieve that goal? And if you need some tough love, give yourself some tough love. Tough love has love in there still, right? Just know yourself. Don't get caught up in what everybody else is telling you have to do. If anything I mentioned on this call, on this episode, this podcast episode, if it doesn't resonate with you, don't apply it. You don't have to have accountability. You don't have to have co-working. You don't have to list out your fears if that's not what's holding you back. Like, you don't have to do all of the things. Just find the thing that's going to work for you. Analyze yourself, understand yourself, know what habits are actually going to help you get the thing done. And do it. whatever it takes, if it means putting it on the calendar, if it means asking a friend to show up with you, whatever it takes for your personality, for the way your brain works, do that. And then once that's done, you're not even going to be tempted by all of those things that are telling you they're going to help you get it done, because you got it done. You did it. How amazing is that going to feel? I know a lot of people, they love to do the visualization of, all right, this is what it's going to feel like once it's done. This is how amazing it's going to feel. Go ahead and reward yourself at the end. Have some incentive for why you want to work through that. Throw yourself a big, huge party. Maybe it's a pool party with pizza, whatever it takes. Absolutely. Feel free to bribe yourself. But know what works for you, know what's going to incentivize you, and commit to that. Get the work done. Because you have so much inside of you. You already know so much. You just have to apply it. And me too, sister. Don't worry, you're not alone. It's me too. But you got this, okay? All right. Let's do this together. Commit, get the work done. Do the thing. If you have time right now, even if it's a mental note in your brain, if it's a voice to text in your notes, whatever it is, start to make that list of what needs to get done. Start to list out your fears. Whatever it is that's holding you back, start to take action right now. Don't let this sit and bother you for another 6 months, nagging at you, telling you you should be doing this thing. All right? All right. Love you. I'll talk to you on the next one. Wow. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. If you found it valuable, please share the podcast with a designer friend. And if you have a minute, leave a review. It's so helpful for me and means the world to me. Chat soon.